Do you remember choose your own adventure books when you were younger? At certain points in the books, you were able to skip to a certain page to continue the story making a certain decision. That is the concept of this channel. I will be telling a chilling horror story, and at some points in the video, I will read off two options of a decision you can make right there. You can then look at the chapters on the time bar to navigate to that point of the video. It's easy. Every decision you will make will take you down different paths that will eventually lead you to dying or hopefully escaping. Can you make the right choices? It was supposed to be a harmless dare. Spend the night at the old Brookhaven Asylum, they said. Easy money, you thought. But now, as the sun dips below the horizon, you're standing at the rusted gates, staring at the decaying building that looms like a sleeping monster. The wind howls through broken windows, carrying with it whispers of the past. Vines creep up the sides of the asylum like fingers trying to drag it into the earth. Faint graffiti decorates the walls, most of it indecipherable, but a single phrase catches your eye. Leave before they wake. With a flashlight in hand and a camera slung over your shoulder, you step inside. The front doors groan as they swing open, and the echo seems to travel forever. The air is thick with dusk and the faint smell of decay, a sickly sweet scent that makes your stomach churn. Moonlight streams in through shattered windows, casting eerie patterns on the floor. A broken wheelchair lies on its side, one wheel spinning slowly as if recently disturbed. Every step you take feels louder and louder than the last, as if the asylum itself is alive and listening. You've barely begun to explore when a loud clang suddenly rings out from deep within the building, breaking the oppressive silence like a gunshot. You freeze, heart racing. The sound seems to come from somewhere far ahead, deeper into the labyrinth of darkened corridors. A cold breeze brushes the back of your neck, and for a brief moment, you feel as if someone, or something, is watching you. Do you follow the sound deeper into the asylum, or do you ignore the sound and explore a nearby hallway? You grip your flashlight tighter and follow the sound, your footsteps crunching over shattered tiles. The noise grows louder, like metal scraping against metal. Finally, you reach a locked door with a small, broken window. Peering through, you see a shadowy figure dragging a heavy metal chain across the floor. Do you call out to the figure, or do you hide and watch silently? Hello? You call out, your voice trembling. The figure stops abruptly. Slowly, it turns towards you, revealing a face covered in grotesque scars. Without warning, it charges at the door, slamming into it repeatedly. Do you run back the way you came, or do you try and find another way around? You turn around and book it the way you came. You hear whatever was behind you break free from the door and start chasing after you. You slip and fall on some old patient files. The figure catches you and drags you into the darkness. You are never seen again. Your screams echo through the empty halls, but there's no one to hear them. The walls seem to absorb the sound, making the silence even more deafening. The figure's cold, relentless hands grip your ankles, dragging you mercilessly over the crumbling tiles. Dust swirls around you, catching the faint moonlight filtering through shattered windows. Your hands claw at the floor, but your nails scrape against nothing but cold, unyielding ground. As the shadows envelop you, the metallic clink of chains grow louder, ringing your ears. You close your eyes, a single tear falling as you whisper a final, unheard plea for help. Startled, you decide to run, but in the opposite direction you came in, deeper into the asylum. You fear that the figure is running after you, so you forget to pay attention where you're going. In the middle of the hallway is a deep hole that you don't see, and you fall. Pain shoots through your leg as you lie helplessly at the bottom of a big pit. The damp, earthly scent of the pit fills your nostrils, and the darkness around you feels suffocating. Every attempt to move sends sharp, agonizing jolts through your broken limb, and you can feel warm blood pooling beneath you. Above, faint flickers of light dance along the jagged edges of the pit. Then you hear it, the scrape of chains and slow, deliberate footsteps echoing above. Panic surges, but your body is immobilized by the searing pain. Each second stretches into an eternity as dread and despair consume you. You crouch behind a stack of old furniture, your heart pounding. The figure eventually drags the chain out of sight, leaving the door ajar. You wait a few moments before cautiously stepping inside. The room is filled with old medical equipment and a flickering monitor displaying static. Do you investigate the monitor or search the room for a weapon? Static on the monitor sharpens into a grotesque image, your own face, distorted and twisted in unimaginable agony. The room flickers with a cold bluish light that casts long, eerie shadows across the walls. You step closer, unable to look away as your reflection moves independently, its mouth opening in a silent scream. Suddenly, the screen flickers violently, and the sound of heavy breathing fills the air behind you. You turn, but a dark shape lunges at you, knocking the breath from your lungs. The last thing you see is the flickering monitor, the image of your distorted face frozen in its eerie, silent scream. Everything goes black. You search around the room. It doesn't take long before you find a rusted scalpel, but when you pick it up, you deeply cut yourself. Blood drips steadily from your palm, staining the cold, cracked floor as the scalpel's jagged edge bites into your skin. The faint metallic scent of blood mixes with the musty decay of the room, making your stomach churn. You press the scalpel tighter, clutching it like a lifeline as you move cautiously through the darkened space. Every step echoes unnaturally, amplifying the sound of your own fear. Behind you, the rhythmic thud of footsteps grow louder, unhurried, deliberate. Panic grips you as you realize the trail of blood you've left is a beacon, guiding whatever hunts you closer. You quicken your pace, but the sound doesn't stop. The coppery scent fills your nostrils, mingling with the room's stale decay. You stagger forward, clutching the weapon tightly, though its dull blade offers little comfort. You decide to ignore the sound and turn down a side hallway. The walls are lined with old patient files scattered across the floor. One file catches your eye. It's labeled with your last name. Chills run down your spine as you pick it up. The paper crumbles slightly in your hands, but you can still make out the words. Patient number 42, admitted for delusions of reality. Do you keep the file and continue exploring, or do you drop the file and leave the hallway? You stuff the file into your bag and keep moving. The hallway grows colder, and you hear a faint whisper call your name. Suddenly, a door at the end of the hall creaks open. Do you enter the room, or do you run back to the entrance? When you enter the room, the first thing you see is a mirror with your reflection smiling back at you, except you're not smiling. The room chills to an unnatural cold, and frost begins to form along the cracked mirror's edges. Your reflection stares back at you, unblinking, its head tilting slowly as if studying you. You step closer, drawn in despite the unease twisting in your stomach. The grin on your reflection widens, stretching impossibly far across its face, revealing jagged, shadowed teeth. Your hand trembles as you reach towards the glass, but the reflection moves first, slamming its hand against the surface. The sound of shattering glass fills your ears, and the room plunges into darkness. You turn to run back in the direction you came in. You make it to the entrance, but the gates are locked. Your fists slam against the cold, rusted iron gates, but they refuse to budge. The night air bites at your skin, and every breath forms a misty cloud in the freezing cold. Behind you, the asylum groans, its walls alive with unsettling creaks and whispers that seem to echo your desperation. You glance over your shoulder, eyes darting into the shadowed corridors. Shapes move in the distance, just out of sight, and the hairs on your neck stand on end. You press your back against the gates, bracing yourself for whatever might come from the darkness. Each second feels like an eternity as you wait for the first light of dawn. Eventually, morning does come, and you are still unharmed. Due to your lack of return, your friends come searching, and they are able to break you free from behind the walls. You drop the file and step away, but the sound of your name still lingers in the air. The lights flicker and you realize you're not alone. A shadow moves across the wall, but when you turn, there's nothing there. Suddenly, a door slams behind you. Do you try to open the door, or do you look for another exit? As you approach it, the door creaks open, revealing a yawning black void that seems to stretch into eternity. A chill washes over you, and the faint sound of a low, raspy whisper caresses your ear, sending shivers racing down your spine. You step back, but invisible hands grip your shoulders, pulling you forward with inhuman strength. The void consumes you, its darkness swallowing every sound and thought, leaving only your pounding heartbeat. You struggle in vain, your screams absorbed by the oppressive silence. As the door slams shut behind you, a voice whispers one final, chilling phrase. Welcome home. It doesn't take long for you to find an exit outside. The cold night air burns your lungs as you stumble onto the overgrown lawn. The grass is wet with dew and strangely warm against your hands. Relief washes over you for a fleeting moment until your fingers brush against something in your pocket. A crumpled piece of paper you don't remember placing there. You pull it out, your hands trembling as you read the scrawled message. You can't leave. Your heart pounds as you glance back at the asylum. In the doorway, a shadow lingers, its head tilted unnaturally to one side as it watches you. The wind carries the faint sound of distant laughter, and you realize the nightmare is far from over.